Hello, my name is Hakon and welcome back to my channel where today I'm going to talk about something different again. And I do like saying that. 2 years ago, February 2019, the building regulations, or rather the fire safety regulations for Scotland, changed. Now, you may not live in Scotland, but what I'm going to say next is going to be relevant to you because if your home does not follow fire safety regulations and there is a fire, your insurance company doesn't have to pay you a single penny. You can become 100% liable for the damage to your own property and to the other properties that may be damaged by the same fire starting from yours. Yes, that is right. It is really important to be up to date with fire safety regulations and also making sure that you always follow them, which includes making sure that your fire alarms are up to date, changing batteries, testing them regularly, etc. Now, back to Scotland. So, 2019, new rules, and these are not normal building regulations. Because building regulations are, by definition, they only apply to new builds and to renovations of old buildings. Fire safety regulations, on the other hand, apply to all properties, regardless of age. And it is the property owner's responsibility to make sure that their property is compliant. So if you're renting, it's your landlord. If you own, it's you that is responsible. Now, I would have thought there would be some kind of official statement about these regulations because they do come into force at the beginning of February 2022, and I still haven't got any leaflet or anything from the government telling me to do something about it. But luckily, there are companies who are trying to sell you fire alarms and smoke alarms who are on it and trying to both inform you and sell you their products, which is fine because this is, I think, the kind of advertising that actually is good advertising. It's not trying to say, oh, our product is much better than the competitors necessarily. They are informing you about the regulations and they're saying that we sell the product, you need to be compliant. At least that's how people advertise in Scotland. People are so civilized here. Right, so the new rules for Scotland, and they do make a lot of sense, is that your fire alarms need to be, first of all, they need to be interlinked. You can't have independent fire alarms anymore. So interlinked means that they are paired together with a wireless system, and when one goes off, they all go off. And this is especially important, of course, if you have a big house where it is actually possible for a smoke alarm to go off in one end of the house and you can be asleep in your bed at the other end and not even hear it. Yeah. That's one new thing. Another new thing is that all the fire alarms are required to have batteries that last the same as the lifespan of the fire alarm. Now, another thing that people don't necessarily know about is that fire alarms expire. The sensor doesn't have a certified lifetime longer than the date that is printed on the fire alarm. It would say replace by such and such date. And it used to be that it didn't last longer than 5 years, sometimes even 2 years, but the new rule is that fire alarms are supposed to last 10 years, I think. I'm not sure if that is part of the rules, by the way, but you can do that now with current battery technology. You can make a fire alarm with an integrated battery that is tamper-proof, and you can make it last 10 years, and then it needs replacing. So tamper-proof battery or mains powered. It can be mains powered as well. And if it is mains powered, it would also have a backup battery, obviously. And then there are new rules for the placement of fire alarms, although that is quite similar to the old rules. There are some new things there too. The old rules for smoke alarms, I'm quite sure, would say that you are supposed to have one smoke alarm for each floor that is in the circulatory space of that floor. That usually means the landing of your stairs. That's the minimum. And also there is supposed to be at least a fire alarm or smoke alarm rather in the main room where you spend your days. So usually this would be thought of as being the sitting room. That's where most people spend their days. If you, like me, spend all your day in the office, I suppose, then maybe that makes sense. But in my case, my upstairs landing is actually just right outside my door, and so having a fire alarm or smoke alarm there will actually do double duty. I always keep my door open as well. Um, and another new thing, of course, is that you can't have a smoke alarm in the kitchen. Obviously, you can't have a smoke alarm in the kitchen. It will give you false alarms all the time. So new is also you have for the kitchen requirement a heat alarm. Yes. This is an alarm that is triggered by a certain threshold of heat as opposed to smoke. So you can have as much smoke as you like, but it doesn't trigger unless the temperature goes above a certain threshold, which is so high that in all normal circumstances, it would mean there is a fire. Then, of course, for us people using gas still, barbarians, aren't we? You need a CO alarm, carbon monoxide alarm, for where you have your gas appliances. So this means that if you have a gas cooker in the kitchen, you need one for the kitchen. If you have a gas boiler that is somewhere else in the house, you need one there. But usually, of course, in British homes, your gas boiler would be in the kitchen, so that's fine. If you have a gas fireplace in your sitting room, you need one there too. So every place where there is a gas flue, gas boiler, gas appliance, you need a CO alarm. Now, CO, carbon monoxide, is a really sneaky one and really dangerous one, because one of the things about carbon monoxide is it's invisible, it's odorless, and it will kill you very slowly and gradually. So many people, they don't actually know that they're suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, but they might have symptoms like headaches, fatigue, lack of concentration, lack of sleep, which also leads to depression and anxiety, etc., etc., etc. And these all things can connect. And then they find out suddenly that it's because they got too much carbon monoxide in their house. And that is what is causing all these other symptoms. Very important. Now, the thing about the CO alarm, there's not actually a myth going around that carbon monoxide is heavier than air and that you need to put these low down on your walls. That is not actually true. Carbon monoxide is a very similar weight to normal air, and in fact, it is so similar that for all intents and purposes, you must assume, if there is any kind of circulation in your house, and there would be, that it will disperse evenly through the air. So you can technically place this anywhere in the room where you have the gas appliances, but normal, of course, high up on the wall or the ceiling is your standard ones. For the smoke alarms, of course, it is on the ceiling, or, well, I suppose if you can't do it on the ceiling for some reason, really high up on the wall, but the smoke, of course, rises when there is a fire. So those are the new rules, and those are the minimum rules, of course. You can have additional alarms if you want to. As far as I know, there is no rule in Scotland about having a fire extinguisher in your home, but it is always sensible to have a fire extinguisher or two, maybe even a fire blanket in your home as well. Fire safety is very important. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one of the new things is that all these alarms are interlinked. So, excuse me just a moment, I need to reduce my exposure a bit. It's getting really sunny and bright outside. That's lovely. So interlinked. So when one of them goes off, they all go off. So when you buy a set of alarms, you usually also get a remote control, and it's like pairing a Bluetooth device really to it. So you switch on your alarms, and usually but these new ones here, you just push the whole thing for a certain number of seconds, and then you have a pairing procedure. Usually on these ones, you just double click the alarm, and then you push the pairing button, and then there is a test button, which I'm not going to push right now because it is really noisy. I've got 4 alarms on my table in front of me now, and it will test your alarms, and you're supposed to do this weekly, by the way. If you have alarms, you should test them weekly. Now, this I did mention before, the carbon monoxide alarm does not need to be paired with the others, but the same rule for batteries actually apply to the carbon monoxide alarm. It needs to be mains powered with a backup battery, or it needs to have a tamper-proof battery that lasts, I think 10 years might be a rule, actually. I'll just double check that now. If it says anything about no, it doesn't actually say that. So, but the thing is that the main thing is that the battery should have the same lifetime as the device. So when you get your low battery warning on fire alarm, it also means it is time to replace the device. And the ones I bought, they have 10 years battery life. You still get ones with 5 years, I presume, as well. So it's the main thing is you don't have replaceable batteries anymore, because the problem with replaceable batteries in fire alarms is that once you start replacing them, you actually might be beyond the lifespan of the sensor in the alarm, and so it gives you full security, and again, it might get you a little bit of trouble with the insurance company if there is a fire. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, and I hope you found this interesting. And if you did, please like, share, comment, subscribe, join me on Patreon, or buy me a coffee. At the moment, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not monetized on YouTube at the moment. I'm going to make a video about that too. But at the moment, I don't make any money on YouTube unless somebody gives me something on Patreon or buying me a coffee, or also, which is even better, by the way, if you buy a piece of artwork or music, links down in the description, which is always appreciated as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, goodbye for now.